Ah, yes, Christmas time. What a wonderful time of the year. And what better way to celebrate than with a review of Sonic Unleashed for the Nintendo Wii. For those of you unaware, Sonic Unleashed is a 2008 video game released for Xbox 360, PS3, PS2, and Nintendo Wii. Sonic Unleashed originally originated as the third Sonic Adventure title, known as Sonic World Adventure. As development went on, however, the game became less and less similar to the adventure titles until it became its own thing entirely. In Japan, however, the game is still known as Sonic World Adventure. Fun fact, Knuckles and Shadow were originally meant to appear in this game, but were scrapped for unknown reasons. The Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of Sonic Unleashed used the Hedgehog engine, a brand new engine that was used for Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Lost World, and Sonic Generations. Unfortunately, the 3DS and Wii could not handle the Hedgehog engine, as thus, Sonic Unleashed's gameplay style, while similar to Sonic Unleashed on the Xbox 360, is noticeably different. Anyway, enough chit-chat. How about we start up and play this baby? Now, of course, when you boot up the game on the Wii, this is what you get. And you also get a notice. Notice you can change your controller settings. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Immediately when you start up the game, you get a sweet little intro cutscene, explaining some of this game's story. As we can clearly see in this intro, Sonic the Hedgehog is once again invading one of Eggman's fortresses. Don't ask me when he got the time to make that or anything. Also, we got these new little egg robots, so that's pretty cool. As we can see in the intro, Sonic the Hedgehog is running through and invading Eggman's base. You know, just like old times, After a bit more action, Sonic the Hedgehog finally gets captured. But guess what? He finally remembered to bring the Chaos Emeralds with him. Nice. Then Sonic turns into Super Sonic and blast away. Of course, Eggman stumbles out of his egg-o-matic thing. Forgot the name. And of course, Eggman begs Sonic for mercy. And if you want to start drawing comparisons to Eggman, go ahead. Yes, and of course, guess what? Just guess. Super Sonic gets trapped with the power of stupidity. Yay! And Eggman starts laughing like crazy. And then Sonic gets zapped, and we get one of the greatest faces of all time. No, not that one. No. There we go! There it is! And of course, stuff happens. Yes, Eggman Independence Days the Earth. And then the Earth 2012s. Oh, sure, I think something like that. And of course this happens. And Sonic turns into a werehog. Yes, fabulous. And of course, Sonic gets launched off into space. Whee! And then the game starts. Now, right off the bat, you get a couple of settings. You get the controller settings, audio settings, language settings, and rumble settings. Now, you could choose between the classic controller and the GameCube controller, but I currently only have the Wii controller, so I'll be sticking with that. Also, right off the bat, you have 3 data slots. And you could choose to create a game in the slot. You can also choose Mii's and Sonic's face. I don't even know, but I don't know, this is just the fact that, the Wii has the Mii, and I guess they want something to do with the Mii. Now, of course, this cutscene plays after, once you boot up the game. So here's the basic story. Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, falls down to Earth in his werehog form. He falls down to Earth and somehow doesn't die. Afterwards, Sonic notices some strange being on the floor. This guy, his name is Chip, Or like Gaia, as we learn eventually. And of course, guess what? Chip doesn't know who he is. He lost his memory when Sonic fell on him, I guess. And of course, Sonic goes on a quest to help Chip get his memory back. I don't know exactly how going on an adventure helps regain someone's memory, but hey, what do I know? And of course, even though I forgot to mention, there's a guy named Professor Pickle. But it doesn't matter anyway, because he gets kidnapped. Fabulous. And of course, eventually they come to Eggman's base, I believe. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, they go to Eggman's base and they rescue him. And of course, this guy starts talking about the guy in manuscripts, or whatever. I don't know, I don't exactly know if they have any bearing on the plot or not, so, yeah. Yes, of course, we also, in Missouri, we get to see the Temple of Gaia. You know, basically what you do is you go around looking for these things. I'll explain more later, but, you know, once they find them, they go over through the Gaia Temple. And from here, there's, you see, I don't know, I kind of don't need to explain. If you can't tell already, there you go, Chip just said it for me. There's something weird in the middle. He puts the Chaos Emerald in, and the Chaos Emerald gets restored. Oh yes, also, Amy confuses the Warhog for Sonic. Again. Aren't you doing here? Aren't you doing 060 your heart out? I don't even... Oh yes, also, Amy dances with Professor Pickle's assistant. Yes, and after getting all the Chaos Emeralds and such, you fight Dark Gaia. Anyway, after the final boss with Perfect Dark Gaia, Sonic falls down to Earth again, during which he notices that Chip is now gone. And after this, we get a nice little piece of music, and Sonic looks at the Brown's bracelet 3.0 and stares into the sun. Fabulous. After which, Sonic meets up with Tails in the game. Anyway, awkward plot synopsis aside, how is the actual game? Well, let's find out. Anyway, during the day you control Sonic the Hedgehog, and during the nighttime you control the Werehog. Now let's talk about the daytime stages. The daytime stages are pure adrenaline-filled races. Well, not really races, but anyway, you get my point. Speed through the levels, collecting rings, going through loops, you know, all the cool stuff. And if you didn't notice already, Sonic has these little things, little bars. That is your boost meter. You shake the remote, or in the case of the classic controller and the GameCube controller, I believe it's the X button. It states in the manual if you ever get it. To home and attack, you shake the remote forward. To light speed dash, you shake the remote forward. Yes, I know, you're probably thinking, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. Well, don't worry, because these controls actually work well for the most part. And plus, it just feels so satisfying just to boost through levels and homing attack everything. And if you didn't notice there's a slight delay between me homing attacking and the enemy. I don't know if it's my Wii or not, my sensor bug, but for some reason, sometimes when I shake the remote, the game doesn't respond. And also, if you didn't notice here, there's also a restart stage thing. You can restart the stage anytime you want. You know, just in case if you messed up, you missed an item or something like that. Alright, speaking of which, the items. Hidden in all the special... Not in the special stages. Hidden in, you know, the normal stages. Daytime stages, night stages, all that bing bang. You can unlock art, music, movies, and secret documents. You can even find some in the villages. Speaking of which, the villages are text-based. You go up, you click on something, and then you head there. Now might be a good time to talk about the Gaia Gates. You know, the thing that I was talking about earlier, the Gaia Temples, whatever you want to call them. Well, in the villages you can find these things. Sometimes you control the Werehog and you control daytime stage in the first one. Well, look at this. These are little secrets. You can go into them and you can find things like music, art, you know, basically items. So you can even find special missions and extra lives. Yes, you heard me right. To collect extra lives, you don't get them by collecting 100 rings or finding extra lives hidden everywhere. You collect them here. Which is the negative that I have to point out about this game. You see, when you start off the game, you only have an option of about, I don't know, 2 lives, I believe. You know, that might not sound like a lot, but it's actually 3 lives. Now, sometimes I get a bit too excited and I boost off and die. You see, I don't know if it's just me or not, but when I first started playing these games, these motion controls were unresponsive as heck. Now, I'd always end up doing things that I really didn't want to do, and those would just frustrate the heck out of me. Now, I still don't know if that was just me or not, but for some reason, the game was not cooperating with me when I first played this game. No, I don't know, and sometimes my control would just go completely out of whack, and I would be completely out of control, and I would have to reset the entire game. Now, motion controls aside, how do the actual stages fare? Now, most of the stages are pretty fun. And I just boosted off there for a minute. Anyway, most stages are filled with lots and lots of extra paths. So, you know, you get rewarded for going off the beaten pathway. Now, in certain levels, you'll run into this guy. This guy, well, let's see. He chases you, and he throws a couple of attacks. But, of course, you didn't see it because, you know, you can skip it really easy just by boosting. What he'll do eventually is that he'll go in front of you, and then that's your chance to boost into him and cause some damage. Now let's talk about how Sonic handles for a minute. As you can tell here, you can drift. Now, of course, Sonic can use the homing attack to lock onto targets, and Sonic can also shake the remote to do the light speed dash. Now, of course, you can also press the B button in mid-air for Sonic to do a stomp attack. This not only breaks certain objects, but can also harm enemies. It also happens to be that Sonic can also slide. In addition to that, while going fast, Sonic can also roll into a ball, as you see here. Now, just a note, this doesn't happen in the Xbox 360. For some reason also, Sonic can crawl. Now, there's really not much use for this in stages, but, however, this is very useful when you go to the Gaia Gates and are trying to achieve items like extra lives, soundtracks, and stuff like that. Now, for the most part, these stages are really fun to go through, and are quite possibly the best part of this game. I repeat, for the most part. The 2 exceptions are Eggman Land and Jungle Joyride. Oh, especially Jungle Joyride. Eggman Land, well, not a 14-minute long slog, barrages you with tons of enemies and some rather, not exactly what I would call fun gimmicks. This gosh dang roller coaster thing kind of gets my blood boiling, but there are also a lot of moments where you're hanging over bottomless pits. There's also this one part of the level where I swear you have to outright stop what you're doing or else you'll fall down the bottomless pit. So lots of parts where you're hanging over these weird gimmicky bottomless pit things. If you fall down, you have to restart the entire part again. Adabat, in my opinion, is still the worst offender of the 2. There's parts where I swear the game just wants you to fall into the water. There are also parts in this level where I swear that taking damage is just unavoidable. Overall, though, are these daytime stages perfect? No, but are they a lot of fun? Yeah! Of course they are! Look at this. Sounds like I'm having a good time, doesn't it? Well, that's because I simply am. But of course, there's another part of the game. Y'all know what it is. The Werehog stages. Well, in terms of the Werehog control, let's see, he can walk, he can run by double tapping, well, tapping the nunchuck in the direction you want him to run, even though he feels like he's on ice. He can do a variety of attacks by shaking the remote and nunchuck. He's also got a lot of combos that I have no idea about. He can also roll and block projectiles, enemies, and all that stuff. So in terms of the character, he's a pretty capable guy. Well, if you can't tell right here, there are some battles. At certain points in the game, you have to battle these guys. And when that happens, this theme will get stuck in your head. It's no use. It's gonna get stuck in your head. I'm serious though. Another thing the Werehog can do is enter Unleash mode by pressing the C button. At this point, his attacks become stronger, and he also runs a bit faster. Now, after beating each stage as the Werehog, you get this little wheel thing. You see, all the Dark Gaia Force points that you collect in the game will eventually add up. And as you can see here, the Werehog is fully leveled up, for me at least. And after this, you'll unlock combos, and your health reaches up. And so does the Unleashed meter. Now, if I'm going to be perfectly honest here, I don't hate the Werehog stages. They're not exactly what I would call Sonic, but, you know, in their own terms, on its own terms, it's fun. I mean, you got a lot of attacks. You can, well, even though Sonic isn't exactly the fastest thing alive anymore, he can run reasonably fast, at least. And the battle parts aren't too much. For the most part, I enjoyed these. I repeat, for the most part. Once again, the two offenders are Adabat and Eggman Land. For Adabat, we have Restless Coast and Heavenly Ruins. Oh, especially Heavenly Ruins. Eggman Land, we have Dark Gaia Cauldron. Now, why are these stages so bad, you might ask? Well, for one, if you haven't noticed already, the Werehog's traction is absolute garbage. He slips and slides around, and this can lead to things like really cheap deaths. Now, for the most part, his traction isn't too bad. When you asked me to do precision platforming with that, well, I got lucky there, but there have been multiple times where I have counted that I swear I landed on the platform just to find out that I was nowhere near. Now, of course, I don't actually have footage of this, but you know, it's pretty see, look, right there. Right there. But that does not even compare to the horror. That is Act 4, Heavenly Ruins. This stage is horrible. So first off, look right here. Look at this. Look at all these spikes. Yes, somebody in the development team went spike happy, and this is what happens. Look at this. This might not be too frustrating, but here's the problem. Now, of course, as you can tell here, it looks like I made it, but here's the problem. Sometimes the Werehog just sticks onto the spikes. Like, dude, are you attracted to it or something? And whenever you fall down, as you can see there, you fall down and you have to keep grabbing on and taking damage, which is just horrible. Now, what is undoubtedly the worst problem with this level? Look at that. There are mini-bosses. Now, I've neglected to mention these before, but seriously, this mini-boss is just horrible. And you have to fight these mini-bosses not once, not twice, but 3 times! And on top of that, you got this part. So you see the goal ring, you're like, ah, it's just a straight shot through the goal ring. But guess what? No. You gotta fight 2 rounds of this little witch guy. And if you're wondering why I'm not moving, it's because of my nunchuck went dead again. You know, I'm gonna bring up that problem right now. For some reason, the game just, sometimes the control just goes completely dead. And I know it's not this game, because all the other games I've played, the nunchuck never goes dead. Believe me, guys, trying to stay on top of these things while hitting all these guys is a big pain in the rear. Sometimes these guys just go through the platform. See, look at that. Now, for the 5th act of Eggman Land, right here, there's one problem. Look at my time. Look at my time. 9 minutes and 19 seconds. Now, granted, I still got an S rank, but come on, guys. Really? Did you have to make the stages that long? Getting an S rank on some of these levels was ridiculous. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to mention the ranking system. Now, at the end of each level, you're rewarded a rank, with the best one being S, and the worst possible rank you can get being a C. Well, how do you get these ranks, you may ask? Well, it's pretty simple. In Sonic stages, go as fast as you can, and if you can't tell, there's a little timer up there. It shows what your ideal time should be in order to get the S rank. To get an S rank as the Werehog, beat up everything in sight, make sure to get a bunch of force points, and collect rings, all while doing it very, very fast. Anyway, if there's one thing I can compliment the game for, it's the fact that the graphics are amazing for a 2008 Wii title. Overall, the environments are great, the models are great, and the cutscenes aren't bad at all. I mean, look at this. This came out in 2008, no less. And the music, well, it's a Sonic game, what do you expect? The music is amazing. Best part is that I don't even need to buy the soundtrack, because certain item cases have the music for the game. Take a listen. And the orchestral theme of the game, The World Adventure, is a great piece of music, and so is Endless Possibilities, which I don't happen to have at this point. Alright, let's wrap things up before my battery dies. So, overall, is Sonic Unleashed for the Wii a good game? Well, yeah. It's got everything you want from a Sonic game. It's got speed, action, and even though the Werehog stages aren't exactly the best, it's still a fun game nonetheless. Anyway, thank you all for watching and have a fabulous night.